What's going on YouTube? It's your main man, buddy and Bromigo Dennis here from Buster's Reef. Just going to talk about my reef tank. It's 260 gallons, it's 7 foot in length, 2.5 foot deep, so front to back, and then 2 foot high. I've been very naughty. This tank's about, I'd say, getting towards 2 weeks old, so a week and a half. Conservatively speaking, it's quite young, but I'll sort of touch on what I did to be able to do this, or at least believe I'm able to do this. It's a bit of arrogance here, but I'll sort of touch on that in a moment. But I've got a bit of an experiment. First and foremost, it's actually being lit by, go up over the top, Kessel, ATI T5 unit, and another Kessel. So I'm going to see which light is the better option of the two to grow coral, LED or T5. It'll be very rough. And then once I've got a good finger on the pulse with that there, I'll actually just commit to one type. So I'll probably get like a 10 by 80 watt unit or a bunch of Kessels, depending on which one I'm preferring or happier with. But I'll show you some of the corals that I've got. So this is a browned out bird's nest. As you can see, polyps are all out on it. It's ready to come and play. It's had a bit of damage, a bit of wear and tear on it. That's primarily due to the fact that I was placing it, and it was just scrubbing up on this bottom piece here and this piece here. It's starting to come good, which is great. If we move over to the left a little bit, we've got this Acropora. As you can see, polyps are out, ready to have fun. This guy was browned out, did not want a bar of anything, and now he's settled in. So it shows my parameters are good. If you sort of further zoom in there, up at the top, you can see growth with a lot of the polyps, or not polyps, but the corallites sort of stretching out a little bit. A bit worried about burnt tips, but ideally that shouldn't happen. And yeah, it's had a bit of growth, especially towards the bottom there. You can sort of see it popping out. Again, by growth I mean a couple of millimeters, if that. It's not diffuse growth. If we move over just a little bit further down to the left, there we go. Now we're cooking the gas. You can see this Acropora piece. This is quite brown as well and quite dark. It's starting to lighten up a little bit. Polyps are starting to come out a little bit more. They're not out at the moment, obviously. They will be eventually. Had issues with the temperature. It's sort of sitting at 24 degrees at the moment, so something crazy. This is probably the worst for wear, and I've done multiple dips on these guys and scrubbed them to get rid of all the junk on them. They're relatively clean. See, sort of been moved about on the rocks. It's scraped tissue off. He's slimed up a little bit, or she slimed up. I don't know genders of corals. They're starting to settle in, and I haven't seen any STN on it yet. So fingers crossed that stays that way, but we'll just watch it and see how it goes. I have seen the polyps come out periodically. They're kind of pale. They do come out. It's just a matter of trying to get it to sort of maximize its growth. Got this piece here as well. So it's not moving. You can see the polyps are out. It has had a bit of growth, especially towards the front. You can see the blue there. That's most likely because the mag's a little bit high, and I'm slowly trying to get the alk down too. And that's going strong. Again, same thing. It was pretty brown and bleached. It's starting to get its color back and darken a bit, which is pretty cool. And I'm hoping the trend can continue. Got this piece here. You can sort of see the polyps coming out. Much the same thing. It's pretty dark. It's starting to lighten up a little bit, which is good. It means the nutrients are even out. It's probably the most interesting piece down here, if I can find her yet, whatever it is Echinata. Post it up against the glass and zoom out a little bit. This is all white, so as you can see, starting to develop a little bit of a colour on it. Haven't seen the polyps out yet. Hopefully they'll come out soon. Again, there are no fish in this system, so nothing's going to really bother it, so ideally speaking, it should be fine. Those are all the browned out pieces. Now I also went to reef stock, which is why I've done something naughty and gotten this tank set up so soon. These are some of the corals I got from reef stock. So as you can see here, it's a Samacora. It's very hard to focus in on it because it has all the tentacles out, but that's a Samacora. It's got a bit of algae around it. So I'm going to give it a good brush before I put it in its final spot. Take it out of the tank and brush it. I've got this here. Polyps are popping out a little bit. You can sort of see them sticking out. You can see a bit of growth up there, especially. And it's encrusting down there as well. So this is starting to go really well, and I think it's actually what's pulling out a lot of the reef building elements on the water column. Now this here is just starting to settle in. As you can see, the polyps are starting to pop out a little bit. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this grows because it has a nice green ring. If I zoom in a little bit, it's going to lose a bit of focus there. I apologise, guys. There we go. You can see like a nice green ring. It's really prolific when you put actinics on, and actinics only, but I don't like actinics, so it'll stay. And yeah, as you can see, polyps really popping out and starting to really enjoy themselves, which is pretty nifty. Got a nice blue piece there. See the green sort of popping out, which shows a little bit of growth there on the edge. And yeah, polyps are out, ready to play and party. Millipora, it's fuzzy. Doing what Milliporas do best, which is great. It's a frag too, so wait and see how that grows out. It's a nice green looking piece here as well, which I'm hoping will intensify in coloration, but I'm interested. I liked it because it's just pale, and as you see, polyps are out and ready to go, and the corallites sort of shine a little bit and fluoresce, which is pretty nifty. And just another blue piece as well. It's doing strong. It's got a bit of burnt tip up the top because it's grown a bit. You can see the polyps in there partying hard, and I've just been feeding the tank to try and get a bit of the tissue back. My most interesting piece, or the piece that I'm most interested in, let me get to it. There it is this guy here. So he was on the floor, on that rock. I'm going to glue it onto that rock and sort of get it set up in a spot. It's pretty hard to see, but polyps are starting to come out. They're nice and bright green. This is a plating acropora. I actually got this from Darren Hatfield, along with a little forest greeny stag with the white growth on it, as far as the growth extending out. This was pretty interesting due to the fact that he said it was a plating coral. I like the colour of it as it stands now. It's got like this pinkish brown and then the green tips. And if you can keep that as it extends out, I'd be really interested, but I'd really like to see what a plating acropora grows into. And I'll replace it and sort of try and have it sort of, if you see like there, sort of have it extend out to about there, and probably glue another piece up the top of this crest here facing downwards, and let that sort of grow into an archway of its own somehow. And I'll probably move that rock structure here a little bit further to the left, and sort of hang it over the ledge a little bit, just to give it all the room it needs to grow. But I'm really interested to see how it goes. By the way, this is my tank, a couple of weeks old. I've been testing alkalinity and calcium every day, and just adding bits and pieces here and there as we go. I'm really trying to bring the alkalinity down, and yeah, fingers crossed you guys enjoy. There'll be more videos to come. But until then, happy reefing, and take it easy. Sorry guys, finished here, back again from Buster's Reef. Didn't really actually touch on what I did to be arrogant enough, sorry for the camera work, to chuck all these corals in with this rock work. But I'll let you know. I basically cured this rock There's didn't call it cured, but really just sat it in the barrel for about 9 months whilst feeding it every day, or every other day. I was feeding it pellets and such, and I'll do a quick lap out to the barrel in a moment. But essentially, this is all very old rock. By old, I don't mean like it's going to be old chronologically speaking, but what I mean is it's been cycling for quite some time. You sort of see some browning on it there as well. So again, that was there before it's actually gone into the tank. So I haven't really had a diet like a cyano bloom or anything like that. You might see a little bit of it there up the top as I zoom in. It's very fleeting. I've popped this in here because I've got my fish quarantining at the moment. I like to play life on a dangerous end, and it's going to be an angelfish, and I'll probably have a couple of angelfish. I've got a blue face at the moment. I'll probably get a false personifer, so a Chidodontopus meredithii. And I've got Montana, my sailfin or Desjardini, so Red Sea sailfin tang with profuse head and lateral line, and I'll show you what Montana looks like, or Tony. I'm going to pop him or her in here. And I've got 2 clownfish, so it's just 4 fish for this. So I'm not really going to have problems with nutrients, and of course I'll be doing water changes as well, probably like 2 or 3% every week. Just try and keep things stable, and of course testing every other day once I've got my dosing unit dialed in and all my parameters as far as the elements and the alkalinity in check. Yeah, enjoy. Stay tuned, people. Bye.